UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into UNPAVED. We are just 9 days away from Christmas Day. We're just a few days away from the college football playoff kicking off. We had Monday Night Football last night. We had a fun weekend of NFL games. So football is still front and center. Sean, how we feeling?
I'm doing good, man. It was they tried to make it competitive, but the team that was supposed to win physically did last night, and Miami Dolphins now are reeling as they try to decide how they're going to move forward. And I know that they're not a playoff team, but they did some things. But last night it was the Pittsburgh Steelers continuing to impose their will, and a Mike Tomlin team looking at a winning record again. So it wasn't a great game, and I was a little surprised, Segs, real quick. And I understand the whole history of it, but I'm not sure what last night when I see people, well, should you bench Tua, which I know we'll get to. I'm a little. It was 22-28. They ran the ball 16 times.
Yeah.
They ran the ball 16 damn times last night. They had less than 50 plays. So I understand holding it too long and missing. Threw a couple touchdowns. The quarterback play was pretty decent. Aaron Rodgers is, as JV mentioned earlier in the week, the MVP of the team right now, offensively for sure. So big win by the Steelers. I didn't think the Dolphins were a playoff team anyway, and the physicality of them won out. Finesse teams just don't win, and especially if you're the Miami Dolphins at this time of year, even though they lead the league in rushing. Yet last night, Segs, they 16 carries is not enough.
Well, when you have one of the better running backs in football that a lot of people don't know about because Miami hasn't been relevant lately, and Devin Achane, I mean, he's a guy that can take over a game in the run and in the pass. He's so dynamic with the football. And yeah, you're right. It was, Miami came out with a poor game plan. And I mean, you heard Troy kind of taking shots at Mike McDaniel all night, especially late in the game when there was no sense of urgency. You're down 2 scores. You're kind of getting back in the game, but there still was no urgency. They were still getting in the huddle, snapping the ball with 2, 3, 4 seconds left on the play clock when you got to get up and go. And Miami just felt like they didn't really care to win the game. And yeah, you're right. The quarterback play was pretty good. I mean, I thought Tua wasn't the reason they lost.
Agreed.
So it was just, and we'll play Mike McDaniel talking about Tua staying at quarterback in just a minute. But yeah, it was just a game that Miami never really felt in it. But even when they kind of got back in it, they never felt like they wanted to be in the game.
What the max, they're down like 17 at 1.6. I think it was 20-3 when get to it, maybe even worse than that. I know 20-3 and get up and start fiddling around and doing stuff, and you go back to watching it because at that point you think, nah, ain't happening in the cold. And they just don't win in the cold. Tua doesn't win in the cold. As much as I respect him and his grind and all that, they just don't win in like sub 40 or whatever, 45 or whatever degree temperatures. And I was shocked, and I'm with Aikman on this. I have a lot of respect for Mike McDaniel and his mind and the way it works, and in San Francisco and as a head coach, and his commitment to the run. And I do believe going in, they were the number 1 rushing team in the league, Segs. I think going in last night, I don't know if it was by yards or yards per carry, but there was a commitment to them because you know who's one of the architects behind the Mike Shanahan, but Mike McDaniel was extremely not only efficient, but a very good sounding board in San Francisco to commit to that run. And they were, I mean, and understand concepts. He's a brilliant guy. Now, you can decide what you want as a head coach, and we've got on him a little bit about his approach and the physicality and the dress and all that and his drip. I get it. But I'm with Aikman on this, man. And I see this a lot in football. It drives me nuts. Oh, because you think if you play fast with, and I don't even mean just tempo as part of an offense, but you don't always have to snap the ball with 3 or 4 seconds. I need more time. We're playing catch up. And when you're playing catch up, there is a sense of desperation and panic that kicks in. How you've trained your team as a coach to handle that is your business. I know from my vantage point, I've never understood, 14 points or 17 points or 21 points or 10 points isn't that big a deal. So everything's casual. And I always say you take on the personality of the head coach. Was there not times last night when I say personality of Mike McDaniel, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Kind of laid back, relaxed and laid back are fine. Casual in a football game is horseshit.
Yeah.
The casual's not good. Now, casual's not good when you're running the football. Casual's not good when a play caller's putting in plays. Casual's not good when your quarterback sits in a gun and doesn't move his feet. All those things, because casual leads to laziness. Relaxed, poised is not casual. I just felt like, you don't want to send the message that we got to play fast. But I do. I want that message to go in. The Miami Dolphins almost felt like they kicked into Miami atmosphere, even though they weren't in Miami. Miami's atmosphere, the casual thing. Listen, man, there's a sense of urgency that goes with this shit in December. And if you didn't have a sense of urgency last night, I'm not real sure what you have. And that's going to be part and parcel to why throughout the season, your butt's going to be doing what we're doing, watching in January. That's what they're going to be doing. And like I said, he's a smart mind, but there's something missing from the Miami Dolphins when it comes to the urgency of, I think they're a really good team, Saints, when they are out in front and everything's smooth. Everything just kind of fits the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the case with most teams? How you deal in desperate times, it just feels to me like they're, now I'm not saying they think this, but my perception at times feels like that the Miami Dolphins structure is, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
The matter is just like, you know what? Shit, I got other things going on. I honestly, we've all had those moments in our life, in our job or anything, where you daydream. I feel like they're daydreaming during a game about other stuff because they've got skills. They've got some talent on the team. The Miami Dolphins are too casual for me, and I don't like it.
Yeah, looking ahead. Well, let's play a couple clips of Mike McDaniel, because him talking after the game kind of represents what you're saying, and then he tries to play it off another way. I mean,
it hits it. It got to 25 points. It was 20. It was
28-3. Yeah.
And then and then I was Segs, to be honest with you, I had Hallmark on one. I'm looking at other channel. I was watching other sports and getting into it and studying for something I had to do today. And then it's 28-3. So they got down 25. There's no sense of urgency there.
Right.
The score wasn't even indicative of the ass kicking.
Right.
Slow start equal desperate finish. So back to you, my man.
Yeah. So let's play the first clip of Mike McDaniel talking about the loss. And I think this is kind of a discussion about where do the Dolphins go from here. So let's start here with this first one.
Supremely disappointed in the outcome. And, I think it does a disservice to, really the objective, the work that we're doing on this opponent, and flat out their team was better than our team. So focused on that and what we have to do for the upcoming next 48 hours as we get ready for Cincinnati.
I mean, even there, he just looks like, he's not looking up.
Defeated.
Down. Yes,
Defeated.
He looks like he's waiting to be fired. And I think that's what ultimately happens here is Mike McDaniel's fired. He goes to be an OC or a run game coordinator for somebody, and somebody's going to get a really
or San Francisco's going to beg him back, and I wouldn't blame him. The guy is a smart coach.
Yes. So I mean,
smart doesn't always equal leadership, though, Segs. That doesn't equal great leader, and that's the difference. Exactly. There's been plenty of coaches in my career that I've had that are phenomenal X's and O's, play callers, assistant coaches. but you wouldn't look at it as a dynamic leader. And I need dynamic. Because I'm telling you, precise and dynamic go together. Mike's precise, but there's something missing for the dynamic. I don't know what it is. And I've always wondered. Now, listen, I know some teams are better. The Pittsburgh Steelers haven't exactly set the friggin' world on fire this year. They haven't. They're not a great team. They're offensively looking better. They're a put it this way. They're an average
football team.
They are an average team who has moments of greatness and a lot of moments of being just average.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's existed more than you think in the physical nature of theirs. So this isn't the normal physicality you normally get, and they still manhandled this and kept the team to 48 plays, meaning the Dolphins offensively. But with that, I've never understood, even on teams I was on, how does anybody need motivation in December? How do you need direction and motivation? I don't give a rat's ass if your coach is the worst speech giver in the friggin' history of mankind. I've never understood. It'd be like you got one more chance to get your SAT to 1200 plus. And you don't prepare for it, and you don't take it serious, and you get 1140, and that coach says you're not in my recruiting box, and boom, you're done. You're just done. Here, at least. You go somewhere else. If you're a football team in December that are hanging on for your playoff lives and doing everything you can to get in while the Steelers are trying to get in and win a division, I don't understand. I don't need your motivational speech. It just has to get in the way. I'm not saying Mike gave one. The discipline of understanding the depth of the importance of that game last night. If that doesn't get you ready, and I need somebody to tell me I got to be ready, I don't get it. The Miami Dolphins look like a team that had a 3-game lead and didn't care about last night. We're resting our players because we got a bye week. And I just don't get the approach and where it comes from. And if the coach is not motivating you and you need that motivation, you're not disciplined enough to deal with it without it. Well, because I said the post-game speech, and I know you're disappointed, didn't give me any hope. Even if there was hope, it sounded like they were done. Okay. And I respect and like Mike, but I'm not looking to Mike for my through-the-roof leadership right now, especially after a loss. And I hate to say it, loss or not, you better evaluate in these last 3 or 4 weeks. You still are evaluating your players and coaches, and you're getting heavily evaluated too. To me, it was a team that looked defeated yet was still alive going into the game, right, Segs? Coming out of it, nothing. I just don't get why the discipline, why you need any motivation to be able to play hard and play smart, more importantly, and with intent, with real intent. It wasn't there. I don't get it. And if you did that, go out. But did it look like a team that had urgency last night? No, there was no intent or urgency, in my opinion. And I'm removed from it. So, but I do know what goes on during the week of practice on teams because I played on them. And I've been on teams that were too casual, and we got our porous ass kicked. Casual does not work in this league, and neither does a lack of sense of urgency when your playoff lives are on the line.
Yeah, and real quick, just looking ahead for the Miami Dolphins. First of all, I think Chris Greer, the GM, I think you just need to clean house. Let's put it that way. That's the best way to put it. Clean house, your coach, your GM, everybody, you try again. Don't sit and do the same thing over again next year. Clean house. Take this year as a year, or take 2026, as a year to reset. Reset your salary cap. You only got like $3 million going into next season right now. Yes, there will be cuts and some moves that will give them more, but you only have $3 million. You're one of the lowest teams in cap space going into next year. Take this year, get rid of your bad contracts, eat all the dead money you want, and just reset your entire roster. Bring in a bunch of young players, get some guys that hopefully you can find some guys that you see as part of the core moving forward. If you want to trade Jalen Waddle, if you want to trade some of these guys, go ahead, get some draft picks and just rebuild. Take a full year off, basically, and go find a coach that you think in a year or two, this guy can be ready to coach playoff football. And I think that's what the Miami Dolphins have to do. You have to.
And the first thing you got to do is a brilliant X's and O's guy doesn't have to be my head coach. Although he knows X's and O's, it has to be the guys he hires. It has to be a brilliant, note the opposite of Mike when it comes to the toughness part. Not that Mike doesn't have some toughness in him, I'm sure. But perception in this case is reality. Mike's got California casual written all over him. And when you're the head coach, that's hard. There's a difference between California casual and relaxed players guy without being taken advantage of. And Mike will have to balance that the second time around if this doesn't work in Miami and they do move on. Last night's game was a perfect indication of the difference in mentality. And I'm glad Isaiah pointed this out because I wrote a note about this. They're down 3-0. They didn't just go score on one possession. I was looking at it and thinking of, because I was looking at the number of plays and the drives.
Yeah.
They went and scored and scored and scored and scored. They kept scoring on possessions after being down. Pittsburgh. The sense of urgency down 3 made, because down 3 was a different sense of urgency than the other team, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and they were down 25.
Right.
So, and that's the difference in mentality of a coach. That the difference between Miami and Pittsburgh can win down and dirty fist fights and body punches. The Dolphins, and fist fights that are body blows, that's December and January, dude. It just is.
Right.
And unfortunately, the Miami Dolphins, this regime, and the quarterback and the approach, they have not figured out how to play ugly, trumpeting shit football. You give them a fast track and everything's great, see ya. But when they got to play this kind of football somewhere else where it's not warm and it just doesn't fit kind of the approach where everything a little off track, but when you get way off track and have to deal with it, their defense couldn't get them off the field, and then they're in the chase mode the whole time. And unfortunately, they're just not tough enough to handle that right now. They're just not. And that's the reality of it, whether you like it or not. That's my evaluation of it. And I felt that way about the Dolphins the entire year. Although I thought I'd see different finesse-wise from them. Their mentality is not that of a team that can win slugfests. They got to win 37-34 fests or play a team that they can just finesse to death.
Right. And on the other side of things, the Pittsburgh Steelers keep their 1-game lead over the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North. So as of right now, they would be in the playoffs. Baltimore would be outside, but they have 3 more games to figure this division out. Again, we've talked about it. The Bengals aren't any good, even when they have Joe Burrow. And the Cleveland Browns are one of the worst organizations in football. So this division is not very good, but it's still close at the top, trying to figure out who's going to get to the playoffs. But you don't expect either of these teams to do anything, even if they do make the playoffs.
Let me remind you one thing. If I'd have told you 2 years ago, Watson's healthy and Rodgers is going to the Steelers and they got Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, we'd have said strongest division in football, best quarterback division in football, and it's not close.
Yeah.
That's what you'd have said. Now you got an aging quarterback who's hanging on and doing some good things in Pittsburgh. You got Lamar, whose team's been up and down. You got Joe Burrow, who's been hurt up and down. Defense sucks. And you got the Cleveland Browns, who I don't know if Deshaun Watson's ever going to take another snap in Cleveland. And you've been through 74 quarterbacks in 2 years, aside from the other 25 years, which you've been through since Bernie Kosar. So,
and you still be maybe looking to draft a quarterback in round 1 next year.
That's exactly right. So it went from that to we can't figure out what the hell's going on in this division other than some organizations, and the Miami Dolphins fit into this, even though they're not in the AFC North of, is it live or is it Memorex? Meaning, is it just ownership down? Where's the disconnect? It's happened in Cleveland, in Miami not being in the division. Baltimore's solid front. They get things fixed quickly. Pittsburgh's been solid forever. Both the Bengals and the Browns have Bengals on a Dow Jones for the last few years, and the Browns, unfortunately, offensively, they just don't have much chance to win right now. And there's going to be that division's going to have as much change as any division in the league this offseason.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating follow in that division, which is normally a pretty good division. Sean, switching over to college, your schools, I don't want to say making headlines, but something that they're putting out there on Twitter and stuff is making some headlines, and it's just showing how things are changing in college football. So let's just quick play the clip of Lincoln Riley and what he had to say about what's going on recently with some re-signings of some of his players.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be. I think that's something that should be celebrated. You know, it's. I think in this day and age, again, it's almost more like an NFL team. It's like, it's an accomplishment to be welcome back, and then on top of that, when you do have that option, it's something that should be celebrated by a school or a program that somebody wants to continue, you know, on what's being built or what they've, you know, already started at that place. So. Yeah, we've tried to obviously feature kind of those guys first, some of the guys that have been here, you know, with us here for a while, and excited about them. So yeah, it is. It's changed so much, you know, on all counts. It's changed a lot for the players. It's obviously changed a lot for us. But yeah, still seeing so many of those guys that come back and see what we're doing and kind of want to be part of that last push. It's pretty cool.
So what he's talking about is, basically, they're featuring the players that they're, quote-unquote, re-signing to come back and play another year. Jaden Mayava was another one that came out today that they said he is going to return to play quarterback in 2026, which is a great thing for USC because he's a budding star and will be most likely, in my opinion, a first-round pick in the 2020.
He needs to come back, just like Arch does, which we'll get to.
Yes.
He needs to come back.
Yes, so, but they're putting it out there as re-signed. And he says, yeah, it's good to feature those guys, which I agree right now. Yeah, that's kind of showing love to your guys coming back to the program that are re-signing instead of moving on in the transfer portal or the NFL draft. But it's so weird to see the term re-signing with the school that they committed to and signed their letter of intent to play there for 4 years or 3 years or whatever it may be. And the problem is, you have to do this every single year with basically every single kid on your roster, which can be 110 plus kids. It's just insane that this is what college athletics has allowed this to come to.
I got to tell you something, man, and hear me loud and clear. I could whisper this and it should be loud. All the old heads that can't adapt and adjust, and it happens. I'm not saying, listen, Segs, I miss some old times in a lot of things. Hell, I miss hamburger helper, okay? With some friggin' hot sauce on it, and I miss fried Spam with my pops and eggs in the morning. But you know what? Very few are eating it now, and I haven't had it in a while. But my dad's not around to make it, so guess what? Got to adapt and adjust. In this, you got to get out of our own way. And it's not just that. Isaiah even mentions the Gen Z, the younger crowd that bummed about that how it's changed. Listen, everything changes. Now, it's not all good change. The transfer portal is not all good change. The NIL is not all good change. A lot of it's heading in the right direction, giving kids a chance, rewarding kids for playing well and getting them paid, all those things to a point. But what Lincoln Riley's saying is spot on. Why? The problem is we lack communication. People are afraid to death because they're afraid of their own damn shadow to admit the truth. It's like in another job that I'm in NSR's sakes. When I'm evaluating a volleyball player or a baseball player or football player, I'm not evaluating them to take their money. I'm evaluating them to give a chance to continue their career at Division III, Division I, evaluate them fairly. And sometimes the evaluation isn't going to sit well or is either going to motivate them or they're not going to work at it because it's fair. It's the same thing here. And you mentioned at this time that they're celebrating guys re-signing with them. This is pro sports now. It is. You re-sign a guy and re-up a guy, and the guy's not leaving a free agency. We re-signed him in baseball. We extended him. Awesome. We're going to keep him. You celebrate it. College is, if you're not admitting college is pro sports, then you're lying or you're full of shit. And that's the way it is. And what Lincoln Riley said, you should be celebrated. Here's the thing is we just think now, because it's signing time and the transfer portal and the initial signing date and then the February signing date, and oh man, this guy's not going to the pros or he's not going to transfer. They're not saying that about their quarterback in Nebraska or Florida right now because they're not celebrating it because two starting players are going to go get go get a haul somewhere and be a starting quarterback for some Power 4 school somewhere else. But it's true. Celebrate him. And it's not just this time. You got to recruit the kid in spring, the kid you have that you recruited 2 years ago, that 4-star that wants to leave. You got to convince him. You got to basically babysit them and or coddle them. Some don't need it, but some do. That why they're not playing, I still like your game and you're going to make a difference for us so they don't bolt. So it's not just this time of year we're focused because of signing date in the portal, but this is a year-round thing. So the coaches, this is a tougher job than coaching in the NFL, recruiting and all the rules and regulations. you got other stuff you got all the time you can or can't spend with him. This guy's coming in. We loved him a year ago, but we like the 5-star coming in even more now. We don't care if this guy leaves, but he's a quarterback, but we can do with that. All those things. You got to harden yourself, yet still be soft in certain areas, meaning that you're still compassionate towards a kid wanting an opportunity. And the good coaches, if a guy's not going to play for you in true segs and has no shot to compete, should go to the kid and say, listen, your best chances are to go. You've done good here, but you're a good player. It's just that we don't have room for it. It's a numbers game. That's what they told you when you got cut from the NFL. It's a numbers game. You're a good player, but we got 52 other guys or 53 other guys or 60 other guys that we like more and 4 others at your position. But you can play. Depends on where. So this Lincoln Riley stuff, people should be offended by re-signing. So you should celebrate it. Why? You're keeping, like I said, Florida thought they had their quarterback or Nebraska going forward. So they're not a celebration right now. They got to go get another guy, train him for somebody else to more than likely reap the benefits when he's a 5th-year guy going to Notre Dame to start and get him to a national championship, Riley Leonard. So this is, he should. And you should celebrate the dudes that you already have under your umbrella as much or more than the dude that 3 years from now, who's a freshman, that's a sophomore that you're recruiting from Crenshaw High School in LA, that you're not sure is going to not decommit 17 times before then because somebody got another $1 million they want to offer him. So old heads, we all got to get out of it. Love the old school. Got to learn to adapt to new school with some regulation changes. But this is the way it should feel. We need to start talking to these kids like they're pros because that's exactly what they are. Celebrate them while you can. Encourage them if they leave, like Kenny Dillingham has, to lose a couple key players for him, and find the replacement because guess what? Every single guy that leaves a program is replaceable. We've seen walk-ons take over and win national championships at Georgia. We've seen guys who were a 5-star recruit, didn't start, left, and the guy who was at UNLV come on in, and he's the guy. We've seen 5-star recruits at SC play quarterback for 4 different schools and really not make an impact at any of them that was bigger than just an urgent starter. So we've seen it all. So I'm all for what Lincoln Riley said, and people that are just trying to hide, well, we can't, screw that. Celebrate them while they're there because you're fortunate if you can keep them, and if they don't, be honest with them, let them go play somewhere else, and let's get it started. We got to get out of our, man, this ain't like it was in the 80s. I played then, so I know exactly what it's like, and it's not the best change, but it's a start, and the transfer portal has changed recruiting completely, not only who you have, but who you're going to get. Lincoln Riley's right. Celebrate him while you got him because there's a chance that your roster will have overturned more than your NFL roster does each year.
Oh, 100%.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, and when you talk about it, we're going to play a clip here in just a second of someone who I think, needs to listen to the message that you just said. But first, TJ Finley, who started at LSU as a freshman, went there, high recruit. He's been with, let me get this right, LSU,
I can't.
Auburn,
Cole Hamler, the
Texas
Jamie
State,
Moyer.
Yeah, Western Kentucky, Georgia State, and now he's trying to go to another one. He's also been at Tulane. That's right. He's trying to transfer and get a 7th season in college football to play for his 7th different school. I mean, that's the kind of shit that we need to get rid of in college. And I know I've said this on this show before, and to me, you get one transfer. That's it. If you're not good enough to find your way as a starter or as a guy who can fill some sort of role to hopefully get to your goal of being an NFL player, then sorry, you don't go to JUCO. Go play JUCO. Whatever you got to do. I don't know, but how
about get out and go be an undrafted football player? And if you think you're still that good, go make an NFL roster as an undrafted signing.
There has to be parameters to this thing because this kind of shit, the USC quarterback, and now I'm blanking on his name, that went to Pitt and then played it like.
There's Keaton Slovis, but there's JT Daniels.
JT Daniels. That's, how many different teams did he play for? I mean,
well, he went to Southern Cal, Georgia, Pitt. West Virginia. No, not Pitt. West Virginia and West Rice. Virginia. And then Keaton Slovis went from SC to Pitt. Then one other place, and maybe a 3rd or 4th one. And that's okay, but we're bordering on too many of them.
But I mean, maybe if you want to do 2 transfers max, that's it. But I think on the second one, you got to sit out a year. I mean, we got to put some parameters on this because it is too much. It is like you're going to start losing great college coaches to the NFL because, like you said, it's much more of a difficult job now to have to recruit all these players out of high school. Then I got to keep recruiting them day after day after day for hopefully 3 or 4 years. And then hopefully you send them to the NFL. But that's not how it works. It's like, oh, I'm not playing as a freshman, I'm out.
Finley, I don't know the kid. I know how highly regarded what he was when he started out at LSU. To say, I mean, oh, this guy's going to be a star. And then kept moving and moving. That's well documented. This is exactly why old heads and people now, even young, hate the transfer portal. It's shit like this that had Nick Saban go be a broadcaster. I'm just telling you. Yep. Now, he may be the nicest kid in the world. Enough's a friggin' enough. First off, one is if I'm the 8th school or the 7th school, should I say, I'm not taking him.
Right.
I'm going to take him. Number one is when the going gets tough, this tells me that he's running out the backside. Secondly, I'd rather have a less talented kid that's committed to it, even if it's for 2 years, than I do this. I don't want him impeding the development of some kid I took from the Woodlands High School or from Scottsdale, Arizona, or I don't care. Enough. When he hit his 4th transfer, if I'm the 5th guy, I'm not taking. I can find somebody who's just a guy, and I hate to tell TJ Finley this, he's just a guy. Hence why 7 places. Now, maybe he thinks he should go to some Division III school and get paid there too. I don't know, but I can tell you this. This is the reason why we hate the transfer portal. Number one is there's got to be, we need to regulate. Dude, when you've been to your 7th school, let your 7th school go play for some semi-pro league or get your butt to the NFL. If you still think you're a great player, I understand he's exhausted. His ceiling is done when it comes to college. Now, Segs, I don't know. Maybe he goes to the Seattle Seahawks and plays great and backs up Sam Darnold as an undrafted free agent. I know what it's like, not to transfer, but I sure as hell know what it's like to get cut or go back and be somewhere where there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks and make a team that didn't draft you. Maybe that's time for that. But the fact of the matter is, it's to the point now we're not laughing with him that he deserves a chance. LSU didn't give it to him. Go to Auburn. Go to Western Kentucky. Go to Tulane. That now we're at the point where it's like, dude, stop it. Just freaking stop it. Yes, go play pro football. Put your 8 degrees or wherever your credits are, 7 different schools. When you have reunions, when your career's over 30 years from now, which one are you going to? Hey, I got 7 reunions of all the schools I played for. I have no compassion for TJ Finley in this, and I have no compassion for the schools, for some new school that takes him on. Try somebody else because this ain't working. Great for you that you're able to milk 6 different schools out of it, and he was a talented player. We've all watched his strong arm and the rest of it. But this right here is telling you this ain't it. He's just a guy when it comes to playing quarterback. And I would not take him if I was a 7th school. I would force his hand. Take your ass to the next level of pro football, and let's keep this moving.
Hopefully, being in school that long, hopefully he's got like a double master's or, he's pre-med, or damn near a doctor or something. If he's
then he's wasted time. If he's not
wasted time, he's wasted people's money.
He's had enough chance to get a degree, understand different systems in offense, get a master's degree, and be close to finishing a doctorate in this time. He, honest to God, has.
Yeah.
And to me, and I don't know, I have no idea, but I know this. He's played in every damn system you'll ever invent, and if he has to go year to year, it tells me he doesn't like to compete. That's bothersome to me. Sure, he's a good kid. From my vantage point, I wouldn't touch him after school 4. I don't care if I had no quarterback. I'll find some kid somewhere. I'll send him. I got a couple kids that can go in there and at least compete. So, yeah, no thanks. I'm done. That's the reason we hate the portal, is that exact reason right there.
But now here's a guy who needs to listen to you, that he needs to embrace it more because his team is now falling off, and that's one Dabo Swinney. Here's what Dabo had to say. It was either today or yesterday about the portal and his philosophy to it. Here's what he said.
I mean, the portal opens on the 2nd. I mean, I know everybody's working all these deals. We don't do that. So, there'll be some of the best players out there. They'll go in the portal, and 10 minutes later, I'm committed somewhere. That ain't how we operate here. We're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it right, and we're not gonna cut deals with people and all that stuff. I don't care what other people do. We'll see who's in there. We'll get rolling that weekend. Everybody have a couple days to just kind of recalibrate, reset, refocus on what we got to do. Obviously, the new year, and then we'll be right back in here that weekend, and be a big staff meeting, and we move in the mid-years on the 4th, and then we've got that whole week of trying to, obviously, we got to fill some spots on our roster, and visits and all that. Plus, we'll be out on the road recruiting. So we've got the 27 class. We've got portal stuff we got to deal with, just like everybody else. We'll have our banquet. I mean, there's a lot going on that time of year.
So he's basically saying what he's always said, and I'll give him credit for that. At least he's sticking to his guns. But he says, quote, "We're going to do it right." Now, what I mean, this is college football, and we've called it multiple times, basically the Wild Wild West. You can go out there and you can get any player you want. You can try for any player you want. You can try backdoor deals. Now, he says they're not going to do that. Fine. But if a player hits the portal that you think can be your next quarterback, if it's DJ Lagway, if it's Dylan Raiola, if it's the Salisbury kid that just went into the portal from Cincinnati. I mean, there's some good players out there. You're losing.
Is he going to go to Texas Tech, Segs? Did I hear rumors about that, or am I just off the? Am I out of my way?
Salisbury kid.
Yeah, we can discuss it later. I don't know.
Rumors.
Yeah, probably. I mean, at least rumors. I thought about that.
Yeah. Okay. So
not a bad. Well, when it comes to NIL money and going there, that's a good place to start. So go ahead.
Yeah, they are definitely putting the money in,
dominating that. No doubt.
Yes, Dabo. I mean, you're going to get left behind, and you see your team that has 3 first-round, if not 4 first-round draft picks this year that was not good. You had a quarterback who was one of the Heisman frontrunners coming into the season in Cade Klubnik, and he disappointed. You are a team that is supposed to be competing for a college football playoff spot, and you haven't been that team lately, and partially because of this right here, because you, quote unquote, don't think other teams are doing it right, and you're trying to do it the right way. You're getting left behind, and eventually it's going to cost you your job. And if that is your philosophy moving forward, nobody is going to hire you.
Now, this has so many layers to it. I respect what we all listen, the way Dabo wants to do it, old school, doing it right. I don't have a problem standing on his morals and values that way if that's what he thinks. He's not breaking any rules by doing whatever the transfer portal is allowing you to do it. So, listen, he will get left behind if the trend continues. Why? Everybody else trains them, and then you get them late, and they come in and help. Why do you think coaches do this? It's a new. What do you trust more? For the most part, a guy who's played 40 games in his career and comes to you as a 5th-year transfer portal guy and is going to help you get to the national champ, Will Howard, and win one, or a freshman that you got to like your guy Underwood. 3 years from now, be a different player. 2 years from now, next year, different player. What gives you a better chance not only to win and get to the national title, but there's also bonuses, there's incentives, and there's a new contract. Don't think for a second that the head coaches aren't selfish like players are. They want more money. They want more security. That's one. I love Dabo's old school approach, but Dabo's going to have to get out of his own way because in truth, and listen, I think there's some hyperbolic stuff. I trust him. I think he's an honorable man and a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Right. If you wait, number one is they already know the names that are going in there. You think for a second that they really aren't starting to evaluate whoever their next quarterback or left tackle or defense? Of course they are. Now, they may not make a bigger deal of it, and they're not going to go out and offer a guy. And I know what he's talking about when we say, well, how did the NBA free agency open at midnight? And at 12:01, a guy signed a $200 million contract. It's because the agent worked it. Now that's just the announcement. That's what he's talking about. But by that open sex, they will have evaluated who they want and what they need. If they don't, it's a disservice to the program and your football team. You have to do it. And Mike Krzyzewski didn't want one and dones. I've said this before. John Calipari did. Get 7 McDonald's All-American recruits, and they'll go in the first round or, second round at the worst, 5 of them in the first round when he was at Kentucky. Well, when Duke decided I hate it, but it's legal and I'm going to follow it, they started to get some too. Not a bad idea. We don't have to like it to adjust to it and to use it to your advantage. Because, I think like Dabo does, and then we're going to do it right. But the truth of the matter is, doing it right is doing it under the rules, but doing it where you go get guys that can help you program and help you win, or you will be without a job. And also your assistant coaches will be looking for a job somewhere else too. So the collateral damage. He's nowhere near that right now, but he is going to have to shift his paradigms to keep up with those that are spending, getting ahead of it and doing it. Because if not, you're going to be going in with a true freshman quarterback that needs 2 years to adjust. And then if you don't like the way he's played or something happens, he will transfer and go be good somewhere else, and you'll be doing it again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell him, and I love him, but if he doesn't adapt like everything else, he'll be using a flip phone as opposed to all the performance phones we have now.
Yes. You mentioned this earlier, but Arch Manning announced that he'll return to Texas next year, play quarterback for the Longhorns. Right move for the kid. I mean, he was clearly not NFL ready. He will go into next season as one of the Heisman favorites, as one of the favorites to be the first overall pick, just like he was this year. Now it's, does he put in the work and have the talent to take his game to that next level where I think most people thought he would be this year? It was down a couple levels. He started to show towards the end of the year that he was progressing, but now can he go off those last few games, this bowl game against Michigan in a couple weeks, and then lead that into 2026 and become the player that some think he can be? And then there's some that don't think he's that first round pick. Maybe he's a second or a third or a mid-round pick that maybe you get lucky with and he becomes an NFL starter, but maybe he's just a backup in the NFL. Where do you fall on the side of this with him?
This is a smart move for a couple of reasons. One is,
sure,
I think at times we saw Texas and maybe Sark and even Arch try to live up to everybody else's standards of him as opposed to what made him good in the first place, which is easy to do considering all the expectations.
Yeah.
Secondly, you want to talk about doing it right, the stuff Dabo talked about. Went to a school, played backup, didn't bolt for more NIL money, getting plenty of it there, got his ass handed to him, dogged, disrespected, and self-inflicted criticism, and then played good, started to get people, dealt with it all this year. Oh, he's NFL ready as a backup to wait for an opportunity a couple years down. He's not NFL ready to be the first pick of the draft and first 2 or 3 picks of the draft and turn your franchise over this year. My hunch tells me, and you say, will he go to work? 18, number 10, the family, he'll go to work. Matter of fact, don't kid yourself. He'll be going to work sooner than you think. But he does be a kid and get away from it. And then turn it and shift it to your expectations, not my expectations or Seg's your expectations or what the national media on some talk show thinks. And he's going to be fine. He needs to mechanically spend the offseason getting things in order. He's a gifted guy, mechanically getting things in order. So the consistent, easy play is routine for him. We saw confidence grow because at times I looked at Arch Manning on the sidelines early on when he was struggling, knowing his family background that they're tough enough to handle it, but thought, I wonder if he's loving playing. And I know that sounds cheesy, Segs, but I'm telling you, it's hard to survive in adversity if you don't love it. And it's hard to convince you when you're going through it that this will be the biggest growth of his career. I'm just telling you, it will. If he grasps it, knowing the Mannings, he'll grasp it and utilize it to his advantage instead of pout about it and, well, woe is me. And if we'd have done this, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. This will simply be, I think he'll be able to compartmentalize and say, here's what I need to do to make it better to be playing for a national title, a Heisman Trophy, first pick of the draft, and to win. So this is a smart move. Didn't bolt because he's supposed to. Remember, one and start one and get out. He's doing it the way that they had mapped out from day one. Now, the starting position may have come a little later than they wanted, but the Mannings don't think in short-term, investments. They think in long-term, get yourself ready.
Right.
And this is a wise move. Sark's going to benefit. Texas is going to benefit. Arch will benefit. And the NFL will benefit, as will the University of Texas. I love the decision because he's not ready to lead a team yet. There'll be way too many growing pains. Let this be your biggest growing pain growth year, and the rest will take care of itself with hard work and smart work.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the right move for Arch and the family to decide to stay and play another year with Sark, who can continue to grow his game and have him ready for the NFL draft.
Their offense will look a lot smoother next year with another year of Arch Manning in this whole system and understanding what they're trying to get accomplished.
Right, for sure. Switching back to the NFL, Bills, Patriots this past weekend. We had the Patriots jump out 21-0. Then here come the Bills right back. Josh Allen leads them back. They get the 35-31 win. Mike Vrabel was complaining about the officials after the game. Here's what he had to say regarding the officiating versus the Buffalo Bills on Sunday.
The Bills lead the NFL in offensive holding, and I'll leave it at that.
All right.
And that would be hard for me to understand how the team that is coming into the game leading, and that's how they play, didn't have one yesterday.
Right.
So
Well,
that's hard for me to understand.
I get what he's saying. I understand. The officiating's been atrocious. I mean, across all sports. Well, let's get this straight. I mean, when you watch some of these calls they make, you're just like, what is this guy even looking at that's calling an offensive holding or not calling an offensive holding? But that's also part of all the technology we have. We see every little thing, and there's 7 officials on the field in an NFL game? I'm trying to count real fast. I think it's 7. So, but you can't lose a 21-0 lead and then go on a talk show that you do on the radio or whatever it is and start talking about the officials. You were up 21-0 against your division rival that you're trying to take the division back from. And you're going to
24/7.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to come on a show and talk about the officials instead of, we let that one get away. I don't want to hear anything about the officials. I want every time someone asks a question, even if they ask you about the officials, I want you to say, that's one thing, but we're up 21-0 and then 24/7 at half. And we let them come back and score a ton of points in the second. They scored 28 points in the second half. That's not all because they didn't get called for holding. That's because you let them back in the game.
This is a gamesmanship move by Vrabel moving forward, too, just so you understand that.
Well, yeah.
And I know you do, of like an NBA coach, first half, they're not getting any calls, gets a tee, talks to the official, says, what are we doing? Then in the third quarter, you get a tee call or a foul call on the other team that you shouldn't have got, but they give it to you anyway because it's almost to make good. Now, so there's part of it. A little surprised because, man, I hold Vrabel in the highest friggin' regard, dude.
I do too.
The big reason Drake May's play and that, but there's a reason why this team's more physical, and a lot of it has to do with what he brings, Mike Vrabel, to the table. One of the biggest mistakes Tennessee's ever going to admit to over the next couple is letting him walk when you didn't arm him with a full cupboard enough. New England's gain, Tennessee's loss. That being said, I'm with you 100%. You can't be up 21-0, 24/7, and then spot a team that is a second half dynamic, precise monster in Buffalo with the biggest physical Superman on the planet playing quarterback and let them hang 28 on you in the second half and you get beat. You can't do it. So while the offense, they didn't get as much done in the second half, but they posted, you score 31, you're supposed to win in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, especially at home. But defenses, you let Josh Allen get in and change into his cape, and it happened in the second half. So, right, I'm with you. Mike could recognize, hey, listen, man, I'm just going to say this, number one holding team, you can call holding on every time, whether you call it or not, right. And he's probably right in there. They probably missed some. But I'm sure they missed some holds on New England, too, at the line of scrimmage. But it doesn't sound like Mike. That's why I think more gamesmanship, because normally the Mike Vrabel I think we've all known is we kicked their ass in the first half, but we only played 30 minutes. We didn't play 60 of them. And if you don't play 60 in this league playing against that other dude that wears 17, you're hosed. And that's exactly what happened. But let it be. I'm going to tell you what he's telling his team. I can assure you he's not setting up in front of the team meeting saying, yeah, we lost because of holding. You know what he's saying? The gamesmanship. Yeah, you defensive guys, you keep putting that motor on. It'll get fixed. We'll get some calls. We didn't this week, but let's make no mistake. This team's not about the excuses of holding. We're better than Buffalo. We showed it. We just didn't show it for 60 minutes. and we split with them this year. Now it's going to be a friggin' grind and one hell of a race to the finish to see who does all this, right? As far as clinching divisions and dominating and doing their thing in January. Michael sent a loud message. He's telling his team that we got to be better in the second half because we allowed football's, not named Matt Stafford, but football's best football player right now to take over a game. That if he takes over a game, what does Belichick always say? Said in the past, your best player is not beating me.
Right.
And the Buffalo Bills' best player beat him.
Right.
Period. And with help from his friends, because you got to have 10 others doing their thing. So, yeah, a little surprised, but there's a method to Mike's madness. And, you know, I know some would say sour grapes. He just sent in a message, but also in his private talk to his team, he's going to, I assure you, they will be prepared to play better second half football this week. I promise you.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we have currently we have the Patriots at 11-3. We have the Buffalo Bills at 10-4, just a game behind. Now, when you look at the last one, the Patriots won 23-20. The Bills take this one, so they've split the season series. Buffalo has at Cleveland, home against Philly, home against the Jets left. New England has at Baltimore, at the Jets, home against Miami. Do you think the Buffalo Bills come back and win this division, or do you still think it's the New England Patriots?
Give me the schedules one more time, Sags. I was stuck on New England. So tell me again.
Buffalo's remaining schedule: at Cleveland, Philadelphia Eagles at home, New York Jets at home. That's for Buffalo.
I'm gonna just give them 2-1. They get to that would make them what 2-1. They got 10. That would make them 12-5. Is that
Buffalo?
right?
No, would be
11-6. Or 12
yeah, they would be 12-5. 12-5.
Right. Okay. So let's go. I'm gonna give them 12-5. Go ahead now with
now you got New England, who's 11-3. They've got at Baltimore, at the Jets, home against Miami.
They're winning 2 of them as well. The game at home is going to be cold. Miami hasn't proved it. They may be 3-0. I'm just going to give Baltimore the win because they're going to be battling for. Let's give Baltimore the win. So that means New England wins the division.
The division, yes.
That would be the logic. If they happen to tie, when does the head-to-head points difference come into play, Sags? Is that the next tiebreaker after head-to-head?
I would have to look at all the tiebreakers.
I know. It changes all the time, right?
Yeah.
But think about this, though, Sags. If it got to whatever tiebreaker is head-to-head point differential, it's 1 point. And guess who favors that one?
Yeah.
Buffalo won by 4. New England won by 3. If it got to, I don't know where that. I don't know where that comes. So I think the Patriots can win. The Patriots, to me, feel like they're more equipped to win 3 of these than Buffalo does. Yet I could see both of them winning 3. I don't see either one losing 2 of their games. I just don't, especially with the urgency and they know what's on the line. I think that I think New England's going to win the division. I just think that if you were playing 3 tough ones and Miami had one, and New England, Buffalo had 1 tough one, maybe get to a tiebreaker. I think New England can, but I'm just going to give them a loss, which still means if Buffalo loses 1, which I think that opportunity exists too, that you're going to have a 1-game cushion. If it gets to the tiebreaker, so be it. Both are making the playoffs, obviously. The division fight will be interesting to see. And New England's still playing for home field advantage throughout the AFC sake, so there's that urgency as well.
Yeah, and then looking ahead, okay, let's say that happens. Let's say they both go 2-1. You've got Buffalo now at 12-5, where they're competing with the Chargers and the Texans for the wild card spots right now. It feels like those 3. If you have New England winning the division, it feels like the Chargers and the Texans are going to be the 2 other wild card teams. I don't think the Colts with Phillip Rivers can catch the Houston Texans.
It'd be one hell of a story. You might as well give him comeback player of the year if they happen to get in with him at quarterback in 5 weeks. Right?
Yeah. But the Chargers, they have a brutal last 2 games. They play at the Cowboys, which isn't I don't want to just give them that win because the Cowboys can score, but it feels like the Cowboys are starting to kind of get in that 1, 2, 3, let's get out of here and on vacation. Then they play the Texans and the Broncos as their final 2 games. So if you're Buffalo, you go 2-1, even or win out, you have a good feeling about getting to that 5th spot in the playoffs and getting, maybe a better draw against say you're playing, okay, if you're the 5th seed, you're playing that winner of the AFC North, which is Pittsburgh or Baltimore. And that's where you want to be instead of playing the Jags or the winners of the AFC South, which with the way Jacksonville's playing right now, I don't see them losing the division.
And I don't think anybody, and nobody's begging to go play the Houston Texans defense. I assure you, nobody wants you're hoping somebody else beats the Texans because they're lack of offense, because you don't want to have to deal with those cats the way they're playing on the defensive side of the ball for the most part.
Yeah. So the NFL playoffs are going to be fascinating as we wind down this season. Real quick before we leave, Kyle Shanahan talking about Brandon Ayuk, I think is an interesting story just because it's weird. They're just let's just listen to what Kyle Shanahan had to say, and then we'll kind of expand on it after this. Go ahead and roll that.
Yeah, we haven't seen him forever. So, I mean, that's a decision they make. It's been pretty simple for me. I mean, I haven't seen him in a month. So, that's, and same with our team. So hasn't been an issue with our team at all. We kind of been plugging away and no big deal. Or it's just something we've been used to for a while, but I know it's new to you guys. So they just officially, I think, had to do that yesterday.
So he injured his, tore his ACL and whatnot, but he just hasn't been around at all. I mean, I don't know, okay. And here's his response, and I haven't seen this. So
just wanted you to know, Segs, is that on his vehicle, on his wrapped vehicle, the B? I want to make sure people know that we had no idea it was you. So we appreciate you letting us know that that's your vehicle, man. I mean, that's don't bury the lead here. I'm going to go get my truck wrapped today, and I'm putting an S on it. I want to make sure.
Good.
But then when you see this, that if it gets jacked, you're going to probably say, why are they jacking mine? Well, dude, your name's all over the shit. What do you think they're jacking it for? So I digress. But back to the IU story. I'm just fascinated with this. I mean, I'm going to wear.
Tears his ACL, MCL, whatever else he tore. But, I mean, do the guys normally just disappear and you don't even talk to your coach, did not see your coach? I mean, I don't know what to say about this. Like
the training room, you should be at the training room every day. I don't know when we got into this. Oh, you go train on your own shit during the season, dude. You're under contract and you're getting paid. Right, you will be here rehabbing in our facility. Now, when you're done rehabbing in the facility, if you wanted to go do some lonely work at your local gym to get more work in, fine. I love Shanahan's answer. I'm so tired of the talented player, but I am so tired of this show up when he wants, kind of do it his way. And I'm sure glad we know what his vehicle looks like, so I can make sure that we recognize the B on the side of the road. But but who's counting? Who's keeping track? That ought to show you. Kyle still hadn't seen him, and there's a B on his vehicle where you should be able to locate him. You hadn't seen him in a month. I love Shanahan's answer. Well, I don't know. I hadn't seen him in a month. We're doing basically made it sound like, dude, we're moving on without him. We don't need him. We're still going to win football games, and we are. And he's been gone so long, we're just used to it. You guys aren't. It was such a kick in the balls without kicking him in the balls.
Yeah.
It's like we don't really care about the guy. And I don't know how you bring him back when he is. I don't know how this ends, but to me, this ship has sailed, man. Now, he may go on and be a great player somewhere else. I hate the fact that he's hurt, but it's every year there's something going on with this cat, right? And the 49ers. Yeah. At some point, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to say enough. But you know how that guy, when somebody gives, when somebody wants you to make an appearance and what's it called, Segs? They deliver you they'll come up to you and pretend like they're a friend. They'll hand it to you. You got to go to court appearance with some. I'm not saying he's going to court.
But what's that guy called?
Summons, right?
Yes.
Send you a summons to appear. You get a driving ticket. Right. You see, or so I don't want to. I never saw this. Or somebody sends you even better to go do jury duty, which is our civic right. I know, Segs, but sometimes you're kind of like, I don't know if I saw that. I was out of town because you're busy doing something else. Same thing here. It's like,
never done
it. Dude, do we got to send out people to look for it? You're hurt. You're a football player. You get paid by. I don't know why you can't demand, just like a guy who doesn't show up for training camp healthy, if he's under contract.
Right.
How do you not demand, dude, you train here? I mean, is he getting fined every day for not rehabbing? I just don't understand the whole concept. I can't. Now, you are out of sight, out of mind when you're hurt. I've shredded my knee, and it's like people just go about their business because they got to move on. It sucks, but you're still in the building. The fellas will walk by. Silas, how you doing, man? How's the knee coming along? Good. And they're back to doing their thing. They're just back to doing their thing, and that's just part of it. But to not show up and the head coach and the organization hadn't seen you in a month, and you should be rehabbing with, well, it's changed, Sean. No, if you're under my watch with my money, you're rehabbing so I can see your progress. We've made an investment in you. It sounded to me like Kyle's just done with it. Doesn't have no clue, doesn't care. And you do got to listen. If they're not going to put effort into you, why would you put effort into them? Ayuk's a talented guy, but to me, that feels like there's a lot of fences to be mended before you give that guy a go back on your franchise. It just is this is a tired topic. I hope he rehabs. I know now where to find his vehicle, but apparently the 49ers can't because, well, we haven't seen a guy who's hurt rehabbing in our building because, well, we just haven't seen him or heard from him. We don't know what he's doing. Can you imagine? And you're still paying him? Yeah, weird.
That's the crazy thing. It's just like,
screw player empowerment when it comes to this stuff. When you're hurt and rehabbing, you don't get player empowerment. You get the trainer grinding on your ass and walking up and down. When I was in Minnesota, you know what the guys who didn't? It was worse not to practice.
Yeah,
it was worse. Hamstring. They were being put through on the bike, sweating, walking, jogging, push-ups on the field, sweating your ass off. You were rehabbing while the team was there. We got to see it. I know times have changed, or maybe the CBA says you don't have to. I don't know, but I got news for you. Who wouldn't want to train in front of them to show them your progress?
Right.
It makes no sense to me. And this is a part of the player empowerment I'm not into. If you're not here training while you're under contract, you're getting fined. It's simple. We pay you. You train under our trainers and under our people. Lonely work, do whatever the hell you want. I'm not babysitting that. But on these hours, we have a meeting. We expect you to be here. Practice, we'd like you to watch. Because we want the young guys to see it. Or maybe they don't care, Segs, because it's like when you tell your kids, when the coach quits talking to you or criticizing you, he's done caring about you. Maybe in this case, it's got to the point where it's like, well, we don't know where he's at. We haven't seen him in about a month. That maybe they just don't care about the player anymore. Not in a negative way, in a way that says he doesn't care. He's not investing in us. We're done investing in him. And I wouldn't blame him one bit.
That's what I tell. I coach my boys travel basketball and travel baseball. I'm one of the coaches on each of their teams. And I just tell all the kids, I'm like, if I'm getting on you, it's because I care. And it's because I know you can get better. And I think you can be a player. If I quit talking to you, it's because you're not trying and you haven't tried.
You've checked out, so I've checked out.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. And that's what I keep telling them. And, you just have certain kids that just don't want to put in the effort to even be a part of the team. Like Brandon Ayuk, while he's injured, but still be there. Your team is in the playoffs. You should be there every Sunday going with the team, doing whatever you want to do to be a part of that. But no, he's just out getting his truck crap.
And it sucks, guys that were hurt during a Super Bowl season. I know a buddy of mine was on a team that won a Super Bowl, got hurt in like game 2 or 3 and missed the whole year. That won't wear his ring, not because he didn't care, it's just that he feels like he didn't contribute, even though he did, because he gave another guy an opportunity. He gets hurt and somebody else has to come play. But just the simple fact of, I can remember blowing out my knee. We got to the Rose Bowl, blew out my knee and couldn't play. I'm on crutches. But I wouldn't have missed it for the world to watch Jack Del Rio and Tim Green and Rodney Peete and Matt Johnson and Dwayne. I wouldn't have missed a Jack Del Rio celebrate. Well, why would I know? Those are the guys that we've had beers with, we've sweat with, we've fought with, they're your best friends in the world here too. I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to be part of the success of your team or the failure to be along, because the guy's a good player. If he wanted to, he could help some young players. They'd probably like the teaching around. It's never, I don't know, when a Ryder Cup guy, the last day when Victor Hovland couldn't play, did he just hop on a flight and say, no, I'm going to go? He didn't play, didn't get the point. They're playing one down and he's there celebrating when it's done. What do you do? Yeah. No, I just don't know. I've never understand. It just tells me it's a me thing, not a we thing for him. And I don't know him from Adam, but it feels like the 49ers have checked out on him just as much as he's checked out on them.
Yeah. It's just one of those situations that it's just a guy that seems to get in his own way more than he really needs to. And that's a continuous thing with Brandon Ayuk. Some
guys would figuratively kill for his ability.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes. Before we get to the bet of the day, I just saw this on Twitter. Howard Stern has signed for 3 more years with XM Sirius. How long has this guy been going?
I don't know. Hopefully Howard comes. Yeah. Well, dude, when they're paying you, he's been making like 5-year, $100 million contracts or whatever it is he makes. No, I think he made $100 million a year, 5-year, $500 million deal. I think what he's got a couple times in the past. They want to hand you 50 to 75 to 100 million for 3 years. Keep doing it. I used to love watching Howard Stern.
Yeah, I remember
he
watching
was the
it like
GOAT when it came out. He was dirty and all that, but he would make you literally be driving in your vehicle laughing going down the street because he spoke the stuff you do to your buddies. I mean, and even then sometimes you're like, damn, he just said that. And we all embraced him and loved him and didn't take it serious. It's talk show. And then he'd do some serious interviews. But all of a sudden COVID hit and he got afraid of his own shadow and became he's no longer the Howard Stern that we all I would love to see him. If you're going out after this 3 years, please be the guy you were what got you $100 million a year for 5 years or whatever it is. That's the guy we want. Unless he's changed, just doesn't want to do it, then he'll be just a guy listening, a guy who's at the end of his career. But he gave me so many laughs, and I hate to say it, but he got the political COVID nonsense. You're a horrible human being if you don't get vaccinated. I mean, he took it to the nth degree where he lost even the most loyal of followers. Let's hope for him. Congratulations to Howard Stern. Let's hope he can get it back, and let's hope he's not COVID nut job anymore.
Yeah, he started his radio career in the late 70s. His show that obviously he just signed 3 more years on that started in New York, K-Rock, started in 1985. So
he's been a GOAT for a long time, man. But the last few years, man, the last few years, he was mailing it in. Let's hope that changes.
Yes, for sure. All right, our bet of the day. We're going to the college basketball side of things.
We won last night. I told you, Pittsburgh. The under and
I didn't bet.
I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, that's why I bet Pittsburgh. I don't bet Miami in December. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
So there you go.
College basketball. We got a rivalry: Louisville versus Tennessee. 2 ranked teams, 2 good teams. This is at Tennessee. Tennessee's a 3.5-point favorite. 157.5. Which way you like this? They've kind of they've been playing good basketball, but I think not as good as they were early in the season. So I think this will be an interesting game to see who can kind of get back on the right side of things and moving forward, playing good basketball.
Yeah, I'd like the under in this game right now, Sigs, and maybe I'm wrong. I do like the under, and that's the way I'd lean. Home court matters. Both are well coached. But you know what? I'm going to take it. I think this is a free throw down the stretch inside that hook matters. I would bet the under in this game, but if I was double dipping or going to bet the other side, I would take Louisville on the road to cover. You give me those points, I will take those, and I'd take Louisville. But I like the under a little bit more than I do the point spread number.
Yeah, I like Louisville in the game as I think a straight up winner. I mean,
you might take them on the money line too, Sigs. I think that's real as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's the better play, or the best play in my opinion. Yeah, I do like the under at this. Although college basketball is starting to get insane with the scoring. I mean, these guys are so good. And
they go on a heater, it'll be 197, dude. I'm just telling you that they go on a heater. They're capable of it.
They're going to have to start having the discussions of moving the 3-point line back again. Because these guys it's too easy for them. I mean, we talk a lot. I'm a Michigan guy. I watched their game the other night. They scored 100 points again for the 4th time in 5 games against good competition. And they shot like 63% from 3 or something. I mean,
they're running up and down the floor and pulling up on threes in college as well, just like they do in the NBA. It's become
it's crazy.
It's too easy for them. It really is.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll continue to look at the playoff picture.
Can you imagine having to contest 30-foot shots now? I mean, you literally have to contest 27-footers.
Yeah.
You don't let. I mean, it's gotten to the point where if you're not contesting, when they extend it and widen the floor and create spacing, and you're not they'll knock them down, man. It's crazy how good they are.
You just have 7-footers just making threes like their layups now, and it's just it's insane. And then you have a guy like Victor Wembanyama who. We talked about a long time ago. They still think he's growing, and he's becoming a better shooter every single game.
Center height, big. They got the big size, and they've been working on their skill set since the 6th grade. So they got handled like a point guard.
Right.
And they're 6'11", 7 foot, 7'1", 7'5", whatever they are, and running the floor like they're the fastest guy on the planet. It's craziness watching it. The game has definitely changed, as has the skill set. Doesn't mean it's a better game. It's just a different one.
Yeah, it's definitely a different game. And that's why with basketball, if you have the goal of playing in the NBA or playing professional basketball, you can't be a 3-sport guy anymore. You have to focus everything you have. You can do it if you're a football player, in my opinion. You can go play, high school basketball and doing that. Maybe not if you're a quarterback, if you want to be a high-level quarterback, but if you're playing defensive back or whatever, you can play all 3 sports and get by. Same thing for baseball, although that's becoming so much more of an individualized sport. But basketball, the skills are just so insane right now that you have to be doing it every single day, every single minute of your life. Has to be concentrated.
I would have never been able to do it, Segs. I was my love of baseball and basketball first, and then football.
Right.
Like I said, not playing until I got to high school. To have a coach tell me, they encouraged it, then go play them all.
Yes.
Because you learn to be, for some, maybe a guy like one of our quarterbacks, the varsity guy, the senior, while I was a sophomore and he was a starter and got a scholarship to Long Beach State. One of my best friends, his dad was the AD. He was going to scholarship, but he was a basketball player for us, but he wasn't. He was a bench guy. And he'd come off an enforcer, tough quarterback, dude, but a Division I quarterback. But he'd come off the bench. We had fouls to give. He was going to make sure your best player, an elbow to the rib cage down at the free throw line, dive on the floor. He learned how to be a superstar in one sport and a great teammate and contributor in another for different reasons. So he learned how to balance that part of being a great teammate. And I just like options. And for me to have a coach tell me, Sean, you can't play baseball because you're the quarterback, or you can't play basketball, you're only playing basketball. It would have been hard. I would have had to go to another school because my guys' encouragement. I know how it's changed, but you're right. The specialization of it, I just couldn't have ever been talked out of not playing some sport during that season. I just couldn't have done it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy. You have young kids now that say like, "Oh, nope, I'm not playing football. I play basketball year round," and that's the difference now. These kids are playing year around. This AAU stuff is insane. We go up to some of these tournaments, and some of these teams are just so much more advanced than our boys because all they do is play basketball. 365
Travel
days
all
a year.
Summer, spend money, right?
Yes,
No doubt.
It's insane. But again, all of our kids mostly play 3 sports, so it's just such a different mindset from when we were kids or when you were a kid. It was, you wanted to play everything, be with your buddies all the time. Now it's like, nope, sorry, I can't play baseball.
Yeah. Now club sports and certain club and travel sports have become more important than a lot of times in that high school sport. I could have never imagined taking a travel sport over my team, my basketball team in high school. I know that's how we've shifted. I get it. But it's like, damn, I want to play for my school, the pride and all that. And I always believed that basketball, which I love, which was my best when I was getting recruited, and baseball first before football, was the quickness. And I played the baseline when we went 1-3-1, so I ran the baseline, and the quickness and quick twitch and the ability to help me. My hand-eye coordination helped me in my football quarterbacking play. And then the baseball, the lower half explosion and torque, getting my right side through without opening and staying closed down when necessary, and opening when necessary on an inside pitch, was the same thing in football when I got to flip my hips and throw an out cut or come back to the left. It was an advantage for me and something that I love. But they've gotten to the point, coaches, and it bugs me that coaches encourage just play one. I get it, but I don't like it. And my dad I wouldn't have stayed at that school if that would have been the case when I was growing up.
And I mean, it's even to the point now, like with my son that plays quarterback, he's only 10. He plays all 3 sports, basketball, baseball, football. And now, we're doing some winter training for baseball, and he's pitching. Well, it's a different motion from quarterback to pitching.
One way. It's the biggest problem with quarterbacks and baseball players pitching. The release point is different.
Trying to figure it out.
His first throw after baseball season, Segs, is going to be this. It's going to be the wobbler because he's going to cut across like a curveball or throwing something different, where it's the screwball finish of a player where that back of the hand's faced. And he go through it, and I always get it. I say, don't worry, we'll get back into it. You haven't lost. You don't have the yips. It's just the release point because they'll be training with me one day and then playing baseball, then just to stay in the mix, right? So their mechanics. And so it's like, you're doing both different. It's like, damn, it's too bad you're not ambidextrous where you could throw the football with your right hand and pitch with your left hand, so you don't have to worry about the mechanics. Yep.
Yeah, it's just crazy because you got to teach them certain ways. You know, like I'm teaching him just to pronate all of his pitches just like he would with a football, and it's just like, wow, this is, you know, it's crazy the way sports have grown. Because when we were kids, it was like, just go play, get better. The more reps you get, the better you get, and you figure it out along the way. Now it's like all specialized, and you got to do it this right way, and it's just crazy. So, all right, tomorrow we'll talk more NFL, more college. I'm sure we'll have all kinds of stories. We'll look at the playoffs some more, and we'll just start getting deeper into these matchups as we come up on this college football playoff weekend and another big NFL weekend with games on Saturday. So remember that. I know the Bears play Saturday night, Bears-Packers, and then there's another Saturday game as well.
I love Saturday football, NFL at this time, Segs. I love it.
You know, that's when the games really matter, when we start getting those Saturday games. So
no doubt. And make sure you like and subscribe too on YouTube, because it matters to us, and you guys and your participation matter daily, and we don't take it for granted.
And that YouTube link is at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. So look that up, find it, like, subscribe, get all the notifications for when we go live. Thanks to Triple E, thanks to Laura, thanks to Bailey behind the scenes, making the show look and sound great every single day. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
There you go.
We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Unpaved Sean Salisbury here for bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.